An ally is someone who is not a part of a marginalized group that has an open mind towards that group and is willing to be there and fight for that group. There are many different ways to be an ally, but I just have a quick list of the 6 ways that I think have the most impact and are most important to being a successful ally to those, especially in the LGBTQ plus community. First and foremost, I don't think you can really be an ally if you don't get to know people that are a part of the community. When you get to know people in the community, that's when you will hear their stories, see who they are, see the struggles they have, and really get a good glance at all of the ways in which they need you as someone who is not a part of the community to be an ally. The second step you can take as an ally is to learn about the community. However, you don't need to rely on people that you know that are a part of it to educate you. You need to take the steps to educate yourself about the LGBTQ plus community. One of the beautiful things about living in the day and age of social media is that we have access to stories that we have never had access to before. There are plenty of resources where you can go and read about people's real struggles and see what they expect of you and how you could be a better ally to them. Understanding your privilege is the third thing that you can do to become a great ally. Now, I know privilege is a word that makes people feel some type of way, but really privilege does not mean that you haven't had struggles in your life, that you are rich, and that you haven't had to go through hard things. It just means that you yourself, because you're not a part of the LGBTQ plus community, will never face some of the things that those people will. Just think about some of the stats. There are 17 states still in the United States that don't give workers any type of protections. If you are a part of this community, you can be fired just because you're LGBTQ+. 1/3 of undergraduate students say that they face harassment at least once a year on their college campuses when they are a part of this community. And then also you have to think about that LGBTQ+ people are almost 2 times more likely to have mental health issues. Just saying you're privileged just means that you realize that you will never face those issues because you are not a part of that community. The fourth way to be an ally to those of the LGBTQ+ community is literally just lending your ear. If you are there to listen to people when they are struggling or when they want to celebrate their successes or tell you about who they love or anything of that nature, and you're there with an open mind, that is one of the best ways to be an ally. But an important note of that is when people do feel comfortable with you, sometimes they may come out with you. Just remember, it's never your place to tell other people what is told to you in secrecy. Never out people. That is one of the worst ways to be an ally. So that was just a little fun fact, but really a listening ear is what most LGBTQ+ people, that's really all they want. It's just someone that they know they can trust with all of their inner thoughts. When you are acting as an ally, the fifth way to continue to do that is just to remember that being an ally is a verb. That means that you're always going to be active, you're always going to be fighting for the community. You can't just come out in June in Pride Month and go to the parades and say you're an ally and then retreat for the rest of the year. Being an ally is a verb, and that means always being for people and always fighting for people, even when you're not specifically a part of the community. And that brings us to our last step of being an ally, which is the fact that you're going to have to realize you will make mistakes. We all do, even I do, and you just have to be humble about it. Just having open communication, not being afraid to ask people when you've done wrong, and realizing that sometimes you have to swallow the big pill and realize your intent and your impact are different. You could have had the best intentions, but if it impacted somebody negatively, you need to own up to that and apologize and continue moving forward to be an ally. There's nothing wrong with that, and everyone that is a part of the LGBTQ+ community realizes that, and we really appreciate whenever allies are like, okay, I'm sorry, I still have more to learn, let's continue fighting.